Welcome to the Online Sales Mentor Podcast, where we help you grow, build, and automate your Amazon business. And now your host, who sells more sugar on Amazon than the Willy Wonka factory, Franklin Medina.
This is the Online Sales Mentor Podcast with Franklin Medina, session number 51. What's up, Amazon Seller Nation? Thank you so much, guys, for taking time out of your day to listen to my show. It really means a whole lot to me, and I value and appreciate you guys a whole lot. So wherever you are, the fact that you're tuning in is what keeps me cranking these shows out. So thanks for making me a part of your day. For those of you that are listening to my podcast for the very first time, this is the podcast where I answer, cover, and share everything you need to grow, build, and automate your Amazon business. If for whatever reason you missed an episode, you can simply go to the onlinesalesmentor.com website, and on the podcast tab, you can click on any of the archived podcasts you may have missed. So let's get started. Hey, what's up, guys? Before I get started, I just wanted to get some housekeeping stuff out of the way. I'm going to be having a live Amazon show on Periscope. Yes, guys, live, my friends. I'm finally going live. So if you're interested in joining the show or interested in putting your name on the email list to be reminded when the show airs, you can go to the onlinesalesmentor.com website /Periscope. That's www.onlinesalesmentor.com/Periscope. Now, what you're going to be signing up for is just the email reminders list. So you'll get an email reminder right before or like a day before I air my show. Now, I'm going to be covering a bunch of great topics, and I have some really great on-air treats for you guys. Okay, guys? So you don't want to miss it. It's going to be me live and just talking with you guys, answering your questions. If you guys want me to cover any specific topic, you can actually post it on, shoot me an email when you sign up and let me know what you want me to cover. But it's going to be an experiment for me. As you guys know, I love to experiment. And using this new Periscope media source is going to be really a great way for me to kind of connect with you guys, right? Because I haven't really done any live on-air stuff in a long time, and I think it's time for me to start connecting with you guys again, just on a live level, because I connect with you guys through Facebook, through email, through Messenger, and all these other contact forms. But I want to connect with you guys live, right? I want to do something different. I want to test new stuff out, and this is going to be a great medium for me to do it at. So if you hop on over to the onlinesalesmentor.com /Periscope, you'll be able to get on the email reminders list. So I'm excited about that, guys. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be live. I'm going to be airing, that first show sometime this week. It's now the first week of September. So it's right after Labor Day. So if you're listening to this around that time, then you'll be able to catch it. If not, then you'll catch, my upcoming episodes. But, you want to sign up for that. Make sure you don't miss it. It's going to be great. I'm going to be covering a lot of stuff, and I'm going to be doing some really cool stuff that I think is going to add value to your businesses. Okay, guys, so moving on with the show. I did something a little different with this show. I decided, I had a scheduled call with one of my students, Ankit, Patel. And Ankit, again, this is not your typical, $100,000 story, from 0 to 100,000. Ankit is a new seller. He's experimenting. He's in the research stage, and he had a bunch of questions that he reached out to me and asked me, if I can get on a call with him and I can, help him kind of decipher, some of these things some of these challenges that he's going through. So I decided to do something different. I asked him if he would be willing to go on the air with me and ask me these questions so that I can answer them on the air, and then put that show on a podcast where, you guys can listen to it, and maybe if someone's going through the exact same thing, it can help you guys. So it was really off the cuff, guys. I'm going to apologize just for the audio quality. I had to switch mics. I have the one I use, the mic that I use for my podcast is a professional mic, and If the quality is like really professional, so much better. I mean, it's top of the line stuff, and it's so much better than the mic that I had to use to record this interview. So I do apologize for the audio quality. You might hear a couple taps here and there. You might hear a couple echoes from time to time. So I really try to cut down on those echoes. I don't edit any of my shows in terms of, trying to perfect it. I give you guys what is, and that's because I try to keep it real. I don't try to brush them up, because at the end of the day, I am not a professional radio host. And I've shared this with you guys many times. Even though I'm working on improving my craft, I'm a regular guy that just has some information to share with you guys. I never aspired to be a radio show host. It just kind of developed into something that, I've grown a nice following to date. And, I have a lot of loyal followers that listen to my show religiously every time I put one out. So again, my apologies for the audio quality. And, I think you'll enjoy the show. It went a lot longer than I hoped it would go. But there's a lot of great nuggets that I think you guys will enjoy. All right, let's go to the interview. Hey, Ankit. Welcome, buddy, to the 51st episode of the Online Sales Mentor Podcast. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Frank. I'm doing well. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for accepting my invitation to this episode. And for those of you that don't know, and you don't know yet, but you will know in the very near future, Ankit Patel is one of my students in the private labeling course. And I decided to do things a little bit differently with this episode. I wanted to bring Ankit onto the show because Ankit has some really great questions. And like everyone else, Ankit is struggling with, just really getting his business off the ground. And not so much getting it off the ground, but, really deciding on what product to select, on whether, what keywords he should be selecting or going after. So I decided to bring Ankit onto the show so that Ankit, can ask me those questions on the air, and I can help him walk him through that process. But before we get started, Ankit, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, I was going to do a little bit of an intro bio for you, but, I'm going to let you take it away, my friend.
All right. Thank you, Frank. Frank, basically, I'm a new seller on Amazon. I mean, not quite new. I mean, I've been selling it since January of 2015. And I was in India last year, having my vacation there. And apparently, my cousin that I was staying with, basically who owns a cell phone shop. And I said, I always wanted to start my business. And I wanted to do something different for me because, I wanted to get out of my job. And I said, okay, I'm a huge buyer. I'm an Amazon Prime member myself since last 2 years. And I also have an eBay account since long time. And I love shopping on eBay and Amazon. So I said, why not? Let me just try to, sell things to see if we could make this success because I'm a huge buyer. And I know there are other people that are huge buyer on all these websites and, sources. So maybe we could sell this. So basically, Frank, out of nowhere, we were just sitting one day and chatting on this topic. And I said, let's look at this cell phone charger you're selling to see if actually it's worth selling into eBay. So I looked it up on eBay.
And this is why you're on vacation, Ankit?
Yeah, this is why I was on vacation. This last December 2014, then January of 15. And that's when I come back in February.
Now, if you can give us a visual, because I've never been to India, and, I'm not going to say I'm sure, but perhaps a lot of our audience members haven't been to India. Give us a visual of what the market looks like. I mean, is this like an open marketplace? Do they sell retail, wholesale? Give us an idea of what it looks like.
Frank, to be honest with you, the Indian market, it's a huge, but keep in mind there, people don't spend a lot of money as much as we do here. So the quality of the product over there people sell, it's a little bit the average, so people could afford it. The Samsung Galaxy that they sell in America, then they had to make another models of Samsung in India to sell, so people could afford it with not the same features. So the market is huge.
So they changed the model numbers to cater to the local market versus maybe using different materials or maybe using different features that cater to different markets, either European or the U.S. market, correct?
Yes, absolutely. They look at the demands over there, and then based on that, they make the modification and roll out their products, and they usually become success. Actually, Samsung is very successful in India. They sell more phones in India than any other countries out there, even probably more than in America in near future.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, Samsung is huge there.
Now, give us an idea. What part of India were you at when you were looking at all these products?
Actually, I'm from a state called Gujarat. I'm the west part of India. And in India, if you look at it, it's like a little, diamond shape.
Okay.
And I'm on the west side. The Gujarat is right there, and that's where I go for my vacation every 2 or 3 years.
Just out of curiosity, what's the nearest capital, nearest big city?
The India, the capital is Delhi, New Delhi,
Okay.
and that's up north. And there's the big cities up down south. Calcutta is on the east side, and the Delhi is the biggest city. Actually, the city I'm from, it's called Ahmedabad. That's the one of the mega city of India too, and we're the huge manufacturing out there as well, and a lot of product generating state.
So it's like a hub, right?
Yeah,
It's where
yes.
all the manufacturing takes place.
Correct. Yes. Slowly. We have a new president in India, and that's what he's trying to tell the world. Come make it in India. Instead
But
of saying made in India.
it's funny you say that because I do know a couple of Amazon sellers, high volume sellers, that they started purchasing products from India. So not only do they purchase from China, it might be a small percentage right now, but they're probably selling, maybe a couple, I'm going to say maybe $20,000, $30,000 a month, just on product, sourced from India, which is pretty interesting.
It is. You know what, Frank? And you wouldn't believe it. I was just, as you know, I was off today. So I was searching from Amazon to see what I could source and all that, as I'm in the process right now. And, I came across this oil. Now I'm not going to say the branding on it, but this oil, this guy from India had all these different types of oil that you could use. And, 8 of them is #1 bestseller. And he's got 5,000 reviews and 3,000, and a couple of them had like 1,600 reviews on them.
Wow,
Just,
amazing.
just look. Imagine the number of amount. I did not run my jungle scout on it just to see, because I just kind of deviate from that, because I was looking something else. But I wanted to go back. I did write down their company name. I just want to go back and see. And I never thought about it selling an oil on Amazon. Who would buy oil on Amazon?
Well, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
I think, you'd be surprised. I think everything sells on Amazon.
Right.
But now going a little bit back to, how you got started selling on Amazon. It all started from this trip, and, were you selling on Amazon prior to the trip, or was it eBay?
No.
Where were you at with your business?
Well,
give us kind of the beginnings.
Right, Frank. So basically, I just had this wild thought out of nowhere, and I wanted to start doing my business, and my cousin owns a shop, and I said, let me just take a look. Maybe we could sell these things online, And I said, okay, and then I looked up the pricing. I said, you know what? Let's test it out. So we went to the market next day, and I wanted to buy we saw iPad cases. I said, you know what? They're made by Apple. It says made by Apple, and we said, let me just buy 5 of these, and if I sell it, I'm going to do this. So what I did is I came back. That night I created an Amazon account, and I also had an eBay account already. So I already put it on sale on eBay. I did not do Amazon at that point because it didn't, Amazon was a little tricky to me at that point because I never sold on one. But eBay, as soon as I put it, I went to sleep, and I woke up in the morning, I had 2 iPad cases sold. I said, you know what, the shipping from India was $20. I put it on eBay for $50, and it sold. I said, I can't believe it. And next day, the first thing I did is, get my breakfast, and I went to the shipping company because I had to find a shipper. I didn't even inquire about it. Then I found the shipper same day, and I shipped those iPad cases out, only to find out 4 or 5 days later that those are counterfeit.
So you ship those cases directly to the eBay customers?
Correct, even from India, because, basically I listed on eBay because my account is from United-based account, so it says it's shipping from USA, but actually I was just testing it. So I actually
so it cost you $20 to ship. What were you selling them for?
$49.99.
So there was still some profit
Yes,
because
I made
eBay takes
twenty
what?
dollar on each, even after $20 worth of shipping, eBay fee, and all that. So I was
Oh,
super
that's great.
surprised on it.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, you probably were thinking, man, I can stay here in India, sell 2, 3, 4, 500 cases from here, just source from here, and I can make a great living. Correct?
Correct. But that's the first hype I got, only to find out after a week that my customer complained, hey, these are not the original. And I had no
Oh,
idea it's original. All of this thing comes from China, because China is Indian border. Up north, we're the
sure,
borders right there.
sure,
So
sure.
everything that, in India that comes, it's mostly made in China as well. And then I'm like, oh my God, this is made in China. So one guy complained out of five, and I was able to sold the rest of them throughout the week. So then I went and buy more and listed on it. And then I said, okay, it's just one guy. He didn't leave me a negative review or anything. But then, I should have just stopped right there, because I had no idea that you cannot sell counterfeit items on eBay or Amazon. It's
No.
just not, since I was new, I had no idea, Frank. So I went go ahead and buy a bunch of the supplies and start selling, and I got a branding problem, a patent problem, every problem you could imagine. And here goes
Nightmares.
my business down in the hole. It's total crash. My eBay account got shut down, and I cannot go any further after that.
Oh man, sorry to hear that. Now, if you can segue, tell us how then. So then you went to Amazon out of necessity, because not necessity, but because it was the only option.
No, actually, in the meanwhile, while I was before my eBay account got shut down, I also was able to register my Amazon account while I was there back in India. And basically, then I saw an iPad cases selling on there, and the way I found out is all you just go on the piggybacking, and basically it's, I mean, not a piggybacking, but you could actually list on it. All you do is just update your quantity. You don't even have to upload your pictures or nothing, because the listing's already there.
So if I can share with the community what Ankit is talking about and most of you probably already know, is you were going to sell an iPad on a listing that already existed, that was already created, and had multiple sellers on it.
Correct. iPad case, yes, not an iPad.
How were you able to compete on price?
You know,
Being from India,
oh,
were you
totally.
the lowest price seller?
Yeah, I was the lowest price seller, because, I'm the only one who's got the counterfeit product, and the rest got the original one on it, which
I
actually
see.
goes
So,
for $80.
oh man,
So I
how
have
how
no
did that
idea
how
at
did
this
that how did
time.
that turn out?
I'm sorry?
How did that turn out? Because did you get flagged
Yes,
for selling
totally. Yeah, after
on Amazon as well?
yeah, even Amazon as well. And I said, you know what? This can't go on. Then I had to go and read all the rules and everything. And, in the meanwhile, I figured out, okay, eBay doesn't allow to sell counterfeit products, so I cannot go into the branding. So then I just bought the generic brands, and I started listing on Amazon, and that the one that looks like, some of the private label. Let's say a cell phone case, an armband for running belt, right? They looked exactly like what I found, and I started listing on them, and then I got an email from the private label seller. Hey, this is a private label selling. You cannot sell under our listing. And I had no idea, Frank, at that time, that there is such thing as private label as well. So basically, I have no idea what are the rules were, you know.
Did that open your eyes to private labeling, or did you just
Exact.
keep on moving, or did you just keep moving along and say let me and say maybe let me find another product that's generic, or maybe create my own listing? Where did you go from there?
No, basically that did open my eyes to the private label, but yet I did not know what a private labeling was. Basically, the email was pretty threatening to me, stating
So it
that,
was like a cease and desist letter, in other
yeah, it
words.
was correct, exactly. So they would close my Amazon account, and I was scared to that. I said, okay, I'm going to take my item off, and I called the Amazon customer service from India and asked them, and they're like, oh, yes, you cannot list it under them unless the product's the same, but they say you shouldn't be worried about it until an Amazon sends you an email. But I did not want to take any chances, So, because my eBay account got shut down, I didn't want my Amazon account to get shut down, because that's something I'm trying to start, and it's not worth letting it go to the hole. So,
So what were the next steps? I mean, what did you do, Ankit, after that? I mean, how did you get from there to where you are today in terms of your interest in private labeling?
so basically, Frank, I had so much inventory left in my garage that I couldn't sell, that I had a branding problem. And then I also had some patents violations and everything. So what I did is I throw everything in a bag and give it out to the Goodwill store. And I said, there you guys go. Here's the donation. and I can't deal with it no more. Then I was looking how to sell on Amazon, and I found your podcast, Online Sales Mentor, and that was a perfect podcast I could ever find, and I started listening to your first couple shows. Actually, I started backwards. I listened to your most recent one, and then I went back and listened to all your previous one.
Well, I just want to mention to the OSM community that this was not scripted. I did not coerce you to say anything regarding my private labeling course. I'm sorry, my podcast. So I just want to make that clear that this was not scripted, that this is totally off the cuff. So
right, no, definitely, Frank. No, you did not tell me for sure.
Continue, my friend.
So, no, basically, yeah, that's it. I just went on and you know what? And the funny thing is I never listened to the podcast before. And that was the first time I've been owning an iPhone ever since it got here. And I never listened to a single podcast. And your podcast was the first podcast I ever found. And then I started listening and I said, okay, this is what I needed. I needed someone to guide me the rules and regulations and how to do it the right way so your business doesn't fail, and the contents on your podcast, Frank, and it was perfect. He was telling me what to do, what not to do, what products to look for, how to look for, and then you also said I could go on your website, www.onlinesalesmentor.com, and I could create a free account and have an access to all these free videos. I mean, who would give you free videos? I mean, people have got a free podcast, but no one's got the free videos, Frank, like you do. And that was the golden nugget for me right there. And I wanted to tell the OSM community through me, guys, that I was just an ordinary guy who either works at Walmart, or works at the different stores, or I'm just a medical professional, and I found a gold nugget from Frank's website.
Well, thanks for that plug. I appreciate it. But now, quick question.
Yes.
Were you interested in retail arbitrage? Because I know a lot of my,
yes.
A lot of the stuff that I covered in the free portion of the Online Sales Mentor website and the Advanced Amazon Training course, a lot of what I covered was retail arbitrage. Did you ever get interested in that?
Yes, Frank, that was it. Actually, when I listened to your first shows, it was all about retail arbitrage. And then I said, you know what, let me start doing exactly what you say. And I went to Walmart, I went to Goodwill, started buying all these books. I went to Target, looking at all those the wall things for clearance racks at Walmart for clearance. And I actually sold $5,000 worth of stuff on retail arbitrage in my first 2 months. And then that taught me how to look for BSRs, what item sells more, what doesn't sells more, what to look for, the shipping, how Amazon works, things like that. How to create a shipment that you could actually send from your home to an Amazon. How much does that cost? Because when I was doing private labeling, I actually did not know how much a 50-pound box of shipment would cost. I thought that was going to cost me hundreds of dollars. So I was so afraid to do that, but actually it cost me only $10, $12, because Amazon's partnered with UPS. So all of these things I learned on your podcast, and that really helped me. And then 2 months into the retail arbitrage, right after the work, Frank, I work a full-time job, and then I go on to the stores on my way home, spend hour or 2 hours finding $100 worth of products here, and then spend 2-3 hours in Goodwill and things like that. And then I was pretty successful. I made about $600-700 out of this retail art business within 2 months.
It's a lot of work. I mean, there's money to be made,
right.
But obviously it is a lot of work. I mean, I've shared with the whole community. What I've done and, my journey, selling retail arbitrage, and now I'm doing private labeling. But, just like yourself, just like what you shared, Ankit, I spent countless hours. I mean, I would go to Walmart in the beginning and spend, 2.5, 3 hours just walking the aisles, scanning. Now, I really developed a nice system, and I developed a nice group of products where I would sell 15 to 20, anywhere between 15 and 25,000 monthly. So yeah, exactly what you're sharing, it's exactly what I did in the beginning, and which led me to private labeling, because at the end of the day, I didn't want to spend that time anymore. Even though my retail arbitrage business, I've consolidated it to the point where it only takes me about 5, at the most 10 hours a week to run. I saw private labeling as really the way to go and the way to grow my business into the future. So was it similar to you? I mean, was it something where you didn't have the time, or just it was, you wanted to find an easier way to get to sell on Amazon and to get into that private labeling business? I mean, what led you into the private labeling side?
So, Frank, yeah, basically it was pretty similar to your journey, but just know that, I was only doing the retail art for 3 months or so, basically. And my wife is always, getting upset at me. Hey, you getting off, because I work for 3 different jobs. Don't get me wrong. I work full time, but sometimes I actually end up spending 60 hours between my 3 different jobs. And plus I was trying to do retail art. So, I wasn't able to spend time with my family, and even I would skip the dinner over of the retail arbitrage. That's how much I was hooked to your podcast. And I wanted to get a success so much that I said, you know what, I'm going to need to do this. I want to get out of my job. And then I said, my wife is so mad at me. She's like, you can't be spending all these hours. You make more money by doing your job rather than doing retail arbitrage. So I said, okay, let me look into private labeling course. And that's when you were offering a private labeling course. And I did some research about private labeling and how people make money. It's less work, a lot of risk involved, but if you do it the right way, there's more chance for successful. And now that's what I'm trying to get into my private labeling business right now.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Which is great because it'll segue us now into if you can just give us an idea now as to where you are in your private labeling business, because the idea behind bringing you on board was really to answer and help you with some of your questions, as far as what you're struggling with now within your private labeling business, that I hope I can, answer for you. And also, anyone else in the community that's also struggling with the same, issues. Hopefully this is the show for you. This is the show where hopefully I can answer Ankit's questions and maybe it can help you as well. So let us know, give us an idea where you are with your, with your private labeling business. Give us an idea of what you've done so far and kind of where you're at this point.
Right, Frank. So, I know people say that once you do private label products, you people have certain strategies. You should look for 3 or 4 products, then figure out one product, and then order samples and all that. So basically, that's what I was trying to do. Currently, I have ordered some samples. I'm in the process of finalizing sample. I'm working with the manufacturer in China. I figured out a way for shipment. I did had a lot of questions in the beginning before, how to talk to the manufacturer, what kind of emails to write. Then I have created my format, the questions, the shipping questions, the duty questions, and the minimum order quantities, and all of those questions I have wrote down, and I have created my own format that I send out to this manufacturing, inquiring about the price and MOQs. And is it an EXW price or is it an FOB price? Because then if it's EXW, you have to get your products all the way, you're responsible out of the company. And if it's an FOB price, they could send it to the port and then you could hire a freight forwarder. At one point, I did not know who the freight forwarder is, what their job is, how much they charge. So I was able to Google and find some freight forwarder, get some amazing quotes. I was also able to get some air shipping quotes and all that. And now I know I'm looking for a nice photographer who could take up wonderful pictures for me. I do have samples of that. All I had to do is finalize it. I had to write a great listing and all that, but I still have some questions, Frank. So that's where I am as far as I am selecting my products right now. And then pretty soon I'm able to launch it. But I've been trying to do this since the whole last month and a half.
So, no, that's great. And so you're at the point in your business where you receive some samples and you're evaluating the samples and so now you're trying to make a decision based on the samples you received, the quality and all that good stuff. So why don't we get into your questions? I believe you have 3 questions for me that you want me to answer, and hopefully I can help you sort some of these out, by my answers. So shoot away.
All right, Frank. So the first question I have is, when you talk to the manufacturer, once you got in contact with them, how do I know if the price that I quoted is the right price? And if it's not the right price, then how to negotiate with the manufacturer?
All right. Well, yeah, and I guess this is one that I get a lot of questions for. It's a great question. Thanks for asking it. Now, the best way to really look, everything's dictated by volume, right? You don't know really what the best price is because you're just going off of what they're sharing with you, right? But the best price is the price that will allow you to make a profit on Amazon, right? So it's almost like working backwards. You see what you can sell it for, and then based on that, then you determine really where you need to be in terms of pricing, right? And by them giving you a price, and then you seeing what the selling price on Amazon is, you'll be able to determine whether there's enough margin there for you to really even bring that product in. And I'll give you an example. I was thinking of bringing a product in. It was in the toy category, and I'll share it with the community. It's not a big deal because I'm not in that category right now. But I was thinking of bringing a product in the toy category. Now, I didn't know where I needed to be in terms of price, right? I knew what my selling price was on Amazon. I knew what it was going for. Now, when I started shopping around, I found that the prices were extremely high. And based on what the selling price was, I then worked from that point, and I deduced, what my FBA fees, would be for that particular product based on what I knew the shipping charges or what the weight of that product is. And not only what the weight of the product is, but what it would cost to get that product shipped from China to my facility. So I knew what that cost would be, right? So that was one cost that I knew I had. Then the other cost was I guesstimated what the FBA fees were based on what the similar items were selling for on Amazon. So I took that, those numbers, and I plugged those numbers onto my spreadsheet, and I determined very quickly that what the selling price was and what the cost was to purchase it and what the selling price was, there was very little margin, because this item was a bulky item, right? So being a bulk item, I wasn't going to be able to, I think they were only able to fit maybe, it was like 8 to 12 pieces in a box. Right. So to have that, and I was ordering, I believe it was like my initial order was going to be about 1,000 units. So if you figure 1,000 units, you spread it amongst, you can only fit 12 in a box. I would need about 100 boxes, and to air that, we're talking, I think it was like $7,000. It was astronomical. On top of that, the cost of acquisition, the cost of goods sold,
Correct.
that was, extremely high, where I wasn't going to make much margin. So even if I decided to ship it by sea, there wasn't even any margin by sea because, again, the price was high. So yeah, to determine if you're, if you're getting a good price, you almost have to look at what you're able to sell the price for. Does that make any sense?
Yes. No. You know what? It totally does, Frank. This gives me a whole lot of perspectives to look at.
Yeah, because then from that price, Ankit, you can work yourself backwards, and then you can negotiate down. But in the beginning, you're not going to be able to do that because it's all based on volume, right? And depending on how much quantity you're going to buy, it's what's going to dictate, how much discount they're going to be able to give you on products. For example, now my current product, I'm buying about 1,000 to 2,000 units per order. My last order was about 2,000 units, and I only received a 3% discount. However, I'm making 100% plus on this item, once I sell it, and after all my fees and my costs, I'm netting, close to 100%,
Wow.
So there's enough margin in there for me. So even if I got a 3% discount, I'm not going to squeeze them to negotiate the price down, simply because this is very well known within the industry, especially when you buy from China, is that they tend to substitute quality.
Correct.
So if you drive them too much on price, they'll be more than happy to get to that price. But what they tend to do is, they'll switch over. If it's a fabric, they'll give you a fabric that costs them less to manufacture in order to get to the price where where you need to be. So you got to be very careful. You don't want to sacrifice quality for 1 or 2% discount, because at the end of the day, if you're working with that, with those kind of margins where 1 or 2% is going to be the difference between whether you make enough money in this, with this product, then you shouldn't be, jumping into this product. You should have enough margins in there, at least 40, 50%, 60% and up, that 1 or 2% is not going to make or break you. So I wouldn't, I wouldn't drive them hard in the beginning on price if there's enough margins there. And I hope that makes sense for you.
No, it totally does, Frank. Thank you so much for explaining. It's
sure. So so that's the way to approach it. When you start giving them, greater volumes, is when you start, then, muscling your way into getting lower prices, because at that point, 2, 3, 4,000 units, you save 2-3%, it ends up adding up. It can mean the difference between that covering your shipping costs.
Right, yeah. But once you get pro at it, then yes, you could definitely, those 3% will be huge at that time.
Yeah,
And definitely don't want to, skim the quality, because, that could definitely make or break your business.
And I'll share another story with you. My second product, actually my third product, my second product is already in production. I should receive that hopefully sometime now in the next couple of weeks. My third product is already in production as well. Well, we're just in the ordering stages. They're getting ready to produce it. So she quoted me a price of 65 cents per unit.
Okay.
Right? Now, mind you, the quality was the best quality I was receiving. I'm giving her a 4,000 unit order, right? Because it's 65 cents.
Right.
So she came back and she says, "I'm sorry, I have to, increase the price because, or, I have to switch the fabric on the product because we're not making enough margins and our labor costs have gone up." So I quickly told her, if you quote a price, you don't change it after you quote it. You make sure that you give a price that you're comfortable with in the beginning, so that this way you don't have to go back to your customer, which is me in this case, and switch the pricing, because I've already built into, my calculations, that price already. So she understood, she apologized, she decided to cover some of the sampling costs, nothing that's gonna really make any significant difference, but she had to increase it from 65 cents to, I believe it was either 67 or 68 cents. We're talking a few cents an item, but it's 4,000 units, so it's a big deal for them.
Right.
But I want to keep them happy, right? I want to make sure
definitely.
that when they do business with me, they don't feel like I'm penny pinching them.
No, right.
All the time. So the difference here was that it's, there's a piece of fabric that goes to the product, right? And in this piece of fabric, there's the original one has one sew line, where they ran the sewing machine
Right.
to mend the pieces.
Uh-huh.
So it has one sew line going down the item. The only difference now that the new fabric has 3 sew lines going down the item, which I don't care about the sew line, because who in the heck is going to pay attention to the sew line?
Right.
Right? If anything, 3 sew lines means that the product is stronger than the first one. Right? Because there's, there's more it's more stronger. It's stronger because there's more fabric. The fabric is, there's more sewing lines into the fabric, which makes the fabric stronger, if that makes any sense.
Correct. No, it totally does.
Right? I'm saying
That
sew
explains.
lines, but I might, there might be a better word for that, but you get the idea. So if anything, I'm more happy with the second item, because it gives the appearance that it's going to be a stronger material, or stronger, fabric that goes, which is an extension to the product itself, is going to be a better quality for my customer, which I'm happy about. And it's only costing me like 2-3 cents more. So I quickly approved it. So bottom line is that, that's every scenario is going to be different, and you don't want to sacrifice quality. And in this case, 2-3 cents meant that I was going to probably get a better quality item. So I'm willing to pay for it, because the numbers still make total sense.
Right. No, Frank, it sure does. It makes a whole lot of sense.
Excellent. So what's your next question?
All right, great. Thank you for that answer. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
The next one is, it's about the keyword ranking. I know in Amazon, keyword ranking is one of the most important thing. It's a key driving formula for your product in order to be successful. So my question is, Frank, is how do I know what keywords I'm currently ranking for? And then if you know that you're ranking for certain keywords, and if you want to rank for a specific keyword that your competitor is ranking for, then how do you target that keyword ranking? I know
Sure.
we have talked about it, and we could go in detail in a little bit, but that's the question. I'm going to keep the question short.
Yeah, sure. So I'm gonna I'm gonna answer the second part first because it segues, nicely into the second part, which is how do you rank for a keyword? So in order to rank for a keyword, it's based on you doing some research to determine which keywords are driving the most volume of searches for on Amazon, and there's several tools that you can use for that. For example, one of the tools that I like to use a lot is called Merchant Words, and you can find it at www.merchantwords.com. Now, it's a great tool because according to them, they go on to the Amazon the Amazon search engine, which is the A9 search engine, and then they're able to extract all this data, all these data points. So if you enter a keyword, it'll return what the monthly volume of searches are for that keyword. Now, based on that, right, you asked, your question was, how do you rank for a keyword? Now, the way you rank for a keyword is once you determine, which keywords you want to go after, and I'm going to use, because I like using the vegetable slicer in a lot of my videos.
Correct. Yes. Love that.
Right? Yeah, the vegetable slicer. So if I type in vegetable slicer onto, say, Merchant Words, and it comes back and it says it's only 100 monthly searches, that's not a keyword that I want to, target. And I'm going to connect how you target that to your listing now. But you first have to investigate which are the popular keywords. Now, you can use a bunch of other tools. There's another tool that I like to use. It's called Keyword Inspector. And you can go to www.simple.keywordinspector.com, I believe is the URL. If not, you can go on to theonlinesalesmentor.com, go to the resources page, and I believe I put that affiliate link on there. There's an affiliate link that allows you to get double the credits.
Yes.
So you actually get more
yes.
for the same amount of money, and I believe I shared that with you at one time.
Yes, you have.
But if you go to the Keyword Inspector tool, you can actually, it does a reverse ASIN lookup where you're able to look up what your competitors are ranking for and what keywords they're ranking for and what position they're ranking in. So for example, vegetable slicer, right? I can go to the Amazon page where, the subcategory page where all my competitors are. I can copy that ASIN, put it onto the Simple Keyword Inspector, and then it'll tell me what, keywords they're ranking for and what position they're ranking in for that specific keyword. So then, you can start there. That's a great place to start because if they're like the number one seller, right, you want to know what they're ranking for and how they got to be the number one seller. So the way that you do it is that you go to the Simple Keyword Inspector, do a reverse ASIN search, and that's going to go into that ASIN. It's going to extract all those keywords, and it's going to then populate that on a spreadsheet. Now, once you extract that, then you take that and you pop that into, you look for the ones that are ranked high, like, 1, 2, and 3, and then you take those and then you pop those into, you copy and paste those onto Merchant Words. Now, then Merchant Words will tell you how much traffic is, being searched on Amazon for that particular keyword. So then, for example, if you come up with one that, again, it's 100, right? Vegetable slicer. You don't want that because there's not enough traffic to drive any sales. So the next thing you want to do is if you find another one, say, for example, the best vegetable slicer, right? That's a forward keyword.
Correct.
You type that in and you found out that one has 15,000 monthly searches for that particular keyword. Bam, that's a keyword that you want to then plug in either into your title, right? That's probably the number one place I would put that. So you want to write a title on your listing that uses the best vegetable slicer, right? Now, you have to be careful because Amazon might have a problem with using best. There's certain, words that, certain claims that they don't want you to make on certain listings. Not pretty much on all listings, but they don't want you to make certain claims that cannot be verified. I can't remember now if best is one of them, but let's just go with the example and say that it's not. So what you want to do is you then want to plug that into your title. You want to plug that into, say, your bullet points somewhere. You want to drop that into your product description, and you might want to maybe plug those in your on your back end on your search terms, right? Look, they say you shouldn't duplicate keywords, but what the heck? If those are your keywords you're targeting, pop them in there, right? Now you want to look for other ones, right? Because what you want to do is that you want to start, dropping some other keywords that you want to rank for. You want to stay away from the ones that rank very high. So the ones that like are ranking 250,000 searches, that's very competitive. You're going to have to compete very hard to get ranked highly for those. So you want to go for kind of the low-hanging fruit, the ones that have, a decent amount, 5,000 searches, 8,000 searches, 10,000 searches. You want to go for those because you can rank more easily and you can compete more easily for those than you would for one that has 250,000 searches, because a lot of people are searching for that. So you want to go for the small ones, because say if you 5,000 people search that keyword, and say if you made it to position number 1 on that page or for that keyword term, right? If you type in that keyword, the best vegetable slicer on the Amazon website, you're going to get all the vegetable slicers that are ranking for that keyword. So if you pop up to the number 1 spot and 5,000 people a month search that keyword, if you get 50% of that clicking on your search, clicking on your item, and say you get 2,500 people that clicked on your item, that's freaking awesome. At that point, what you have to do is to try to convert them into a buying customer. And then that's where images come in, titles come in. Images are like the biggest, because someone might read the title, might maybe read the bullet points, but a lot of times they might not read the description as thoroughly, but they'll look at the pictures. They'll click on all the pictures. They'll browse around them. They'll make sure they know what they're getting, or that it has the right features and the right colors, and blah blah blah, all that stuff. So this is how you're going to convert them. They're also going to look at reviews. They're going to look at they're going to look at your seller feedback, to make sure that you're that you're not a scammy seller, or that you've had too many problems. So these are all conversions. So when they talk about conversions and why you need to get reviews, is because that's social proof, right? If you go if the number 1 seller has 0 reviews, but the number 2 seller has 200, more than likely the number 2 seller is probably going to make a sale, right?
Right, absolutely, makes sense.
More than the number 1. So that's where you convert them. So how do you rank for it? You take that keyword and you plug it in your title, because you plug it in your title and you plug it throughout your listing, and that will hopefully get you organic listings. But then you take that same keyword and you pop it into into a PPC campaign, right? And I'm not going to go deep into a PPC campaign, but everyone knows that a PPC campaign, or if you don't know, you're listening for the first time, a PPC campaign is a pay-per-click campaign where you actually pay to promote your listing. Now, what you want to do is that it's all driven by keywords. So you take that keyword, the best vegetable slicer, and you put a price on it. So you say, for example, let's say you're willing to pay $3 per click on it. You're not going to pay $3 per click because it's all driven by market demand. So if the bid rate on that keyword is 85 cents, even if you put $3, you're only going to pay at the end of the day 85 cents. Or if it's being driven up to $2, you're going to pay $2. What you're telling Amazon by putting $3 is that that's the most you're willing to pay. If the prices were driven up, that's the most you're willing to pay for that keyword. So that's how you artificially drive up, you rank for a keyword, is by paying for it, one, and then throwing them into your listing or into your listing so that you can rank for it organically. And then there's a third way that that you can rank your keywords. And yes, keywords are everything. Keywords are what allow you to get sales on your product, because people, the way that the natural progression of a search goes is that you go onto Amazon and you type in what you're looking for. So more than likely, if you're looking for a cell phone case for an iPhone 6, you're going to type in iPhone 6 cell phone case, right? Or black, if you're looking for a specific color, you're going to type in black cell phone case, iPhone 6, right? That's how people, organically search, right? So bottom line is that you want to then take those keywords based on the volume, based on what Merchant Words tells you that those number of searches are. Then you take those keywords and you plug it all across your listing. Then there's a third way that people try to rank for that keyword, so that when someone goes in and types in black cell phone case, iPhone 6, and your listing pops up, is that they try to do it through what's called product promotions, where they'll blast 100 products. You give away 100 products at a discount or for free, right? And then you then use a super URL that allows you to then rank for that keyword in a artificial way, which is not an organic way. So again, we can go into that more later on if you like, but really those are the ways that you rank for a keyword, and also that you search for how to search for a product, so that you can determine if that's a keyword you want to rank for. And then when you find that keyword, then you actually then either pay for it, put it in a PPC campaign where you're going to pay for it to get ranked, and then you spread it all across your listing so that you can rank organically. Does that answer your question? I'm sorry if it was a little bit long-winded.
No, Frank, it was actually really good. It was really in-depth. So let me make sure, I just want to confirm it just so I understand it great.
Yes, right.
So let's say if I'm selling iPhone 6 case and I want to rank for that keyword. So basically I just wanted to put it on all over my listing, and even in my title and everything. So ranking for keyword means, Frank, basically is when someone go on Amazon.com, put it in their search box, iPhone 6 case, and regarding on which, let's say I'm on page 5 and they happen to scroll on page 5, and if they buy my item by organically going to page 5, and hey, I like this, so basically I'm going to automatically rank up higher on the pages. Is that what it's called, keyword ranking?
Yeah, so the more people find your listing by typing in that particular keyword, is going to allow you to rank for that keyword. So when you hear the terms, are you ranking for that keyword, that's what they mean. It means basically that they typed in the keyword, and then they found your listing and they clicked on your listing. So what it does is it tells Amazon that your listing is being found by people searching that keyword term, and then clicking on your listing, and then adding it to cart, and then purchasing it.
I see. So Amazon knows it's a good seller and with that keyword, so they would bring it up in the ranking.
Right. So if enough people do that, then what happens is that you go from page 5 to page 4, page 3, page 2, and then finally page 1, and then hopefully high up on that page, you can get high up on that page where now a lot of the traffic that is being driven by that keyword, you're going to make a good portion of those sales.
Correct. And now you're making organic sales at that point. So ranking on the keywords is very well important.
And that's how you rank organically, right? You kind of give it an artificial boost, but then over time, then people when they type in, they're going to visually type in that keyword. They're going to visually see your listing, because Amazon determined that people that type in that keyword, they're gravitating towards your listing, because one, you're at the top of that page, right? Because typically people don't get to page 5. People page 1 and they're done. But if you moved up the rankings, right, Amazon is saying, hold on, there's a lot of interest in that keyword and this particular listing. Let's rank it higher, because Amazon, at the end of the day, what they like is sales, and they're relating that keyword and a completed sale with your listing. And at the end of the day, that's what Amazon likes. They like sales.
Correct. Right. That's the bottom line. And I like sales too.
We all do, don't we?
So, right. Wonderful. Great. Thank you so much, Frank. I appreciate the
Sure.
detailed answer. And
so I knew you had one more question.
yeah, you know what? It's the last question, and it is really related to it. You try to answer it. You said we'll go on to details a little bit later. So if you don't mind, the question is, I know that everybody's hyped up about the recent terms of service change in Amazon, and I know people used to do it artificial way of ranking for keywords. So it's related to previous one. The question is, some people still trying to use super URLs, and since the terms of service is changed, is it still okay to use super URL with the keyword embedded in it? And if it is, also how to create a super URLs?
Well, okay. Well, this is a really touchy, sensitive topic, simply because, everyone seems to really bend the language to suit their business interests, right? And, those that are part of review groups, want to make it seem like everything's okay, you're fine, and they're twisting and bending the language to suit their needs. Bottom line is this. Amazon, you know what? Let me see if I pull up I'm going to pull up the terms. And I won't spend a lot of time on this, but I will just, let me pull it up. I have it here saved on my bookmark. Because I think this is important. People need to really understand, this whole, this whole topic regarding this. And I'm going to just share a small little excerpt, because I really had this discussion with someone else regarding this. And, I think people are just a little bit confused. And not to say that my answer is the best answer, but I think, it's the most logical answer, right? So I'm going to share it. Now, the language that you're referring to is the one that relates to reviews. Now, this is what Amazon, added to their terms of service. And I'm just going to read the excerpt that I think really relates to, the language in question that everybody's referring to, that, whether you can't, do reviews, you can't do this, you can't do that. So here I'm going to read it. You may not intentionally manipulate your product rankings, including by offering an excessive number of free or discounted products in exchange for a review. All right. That piece of language there is extremely important. And I'll read it again. It says, you may not intentionally manipulate your product rankings, including by offering an excessive number of free or discounted products in exchange for a review. So bottom line is this. What all Amazon sellers are doing, I'm not going to say all, but the ones in this community, right? The ones that we know that you find on, your typical, Facebook groups, what everyone is trying to do is intentionally manipulate their product rankings. I mean, let's call a spade, right? By offering products to a review service, you're intentionally manipulating product rankings. By blasting your products with blasting services, you're intentionally manipulating your product rankings. So that includes everyone that does that. If you're trying to get more reviews, you're trying to really boost your BSRs by that social proof, right? By really, making the customer feel more comfortable that you have a lot more reviews. So you're going to convert higher. So what are you trying to do? You're intentionally manipulating the product rankings. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does.
Right. Now, when you're using a blast service to blast your product, not necessarily asking for reviews, but to really increase sales velocity for your product so that you can rank higher, you're essentially trying to trick the algorithm to think that there's a huge spike in demand on your product. So Amazon is going to really increase your BSRs, and that's again, that's intentionally manipulating your product rankings. So, and then it continues by including by offering an excessive number of free or discounted products in exchange for a review. Now, this is where a lot of people are twisting it to suit their convenience, to suit their business needs. They're saying, well, free or discounted products, excessive. Amazon is saying excessive. Look, Amazon is not putting a number by which they're defining excessive. So anything over 1, you have to assume is excessive, right? Because they're not giving us a number. So they can say anything over 1 is excessive. You almost have to look at it from an extreme point of view because it's Amazon's backyard, and they can determine that anything above 2 is excessive, right? So here's the third component: in exchange for a review. Now, you cannot offer in an email free or discounted product and also in the same email ask for a review, because that is a clear violation of Amazon's terms of service, because they're clear on what they're saying here. You cannot give an excessive number of free or discounted products in exchange for a review. Now, excessive because everyone that gives away product to a review group or gives away product to a blasting service does it in large numbers, because that is the only way that you can intentionally manipulate the product rankings. Does that make sense?
Yes, it sure does.
Right? So you're not going to give one product away to a review service or one product away to a blast service, for a review. It doesn't make sense, because you're not going to intentionally manipulate the product rankings with just giving one product away. Now, quote, you see that I'm using the language when I'm explaining this. So when any seller uses any of those services, they're giving away 50, 100, 200 units. So that, in my eyes, and for the layman, in the eyes of a layman, that's excessive. That's a lot of units, right?
Yeah.
Those are a lot of units. So and then they're saying, Amazon is saying that you cannot do it in exchange for a review. So do not put in your email, here's hey customer, for thank you for your business, or whatever it is you say. Here's a coupon for 50% off, or for 80% off, or or for free, and then right afterwards say in the same email, we love to to receive a review if you feel that the product is amazing and awesome. That's a violation. So what I'm sharing with everyone, and I've shared in a previous podcast, which I believe was episode 50, 50 or 49, one of the two. I believe it was probably 50 or 49, but you guys can check. I shared in there that the way to really avoid from violating, because you can blast product out. You can do that. I never use a review service because I just stay far away from that. Not that, I'm going to say a lot of them are doing good things because they're trying to help, but I just don't use it. I've used blast services before, but I blast the majority. I'm not going to say the majority. I blast products to my list as well, and I've used a blasting service in the past. Okay? And, I'm going to say it's okay to use them so long as you don't ask for a review. And I'm going to extend this by saying that you shouldn't have an email sequence, because Amazon doesn't make a distinction here whether it's in the same email, or they don't make a distinction whether it's, an email afterwards. They just say in exchange for a review. So I recommend, and what I'm doing for my business is I'm pivoting, right? So whenever I blast a product out, I make sure that my sequence never asks for a review or a feedback. The only email I send out to the customer is, thank you for your business. Here's a coupon for our other product. Here's a 80% off coupon. Thank you for your business. Any questions, feel free to contact us. That's it. That's the only email they get from me. Then they get a second email from me. The second email that they receive from me is an email with a free ebook showing them how to use the product. So what am I doing, Ankit? I'm delivering value. And that value is what I'm hoping that they will organically decide to leave a review, because I went above and beyond in giving them great service, finding, letting them know that I'm happy that they, that I hope they enjoy the product. Any questions, feel free to contact me. And then I follow it up a few days later with an ebook that goes over my product, and, it explains to them how to use it. And, it's more of a guide, ebook guide, but it's actually a 3-page ebook guide. So I send that in a follow-up email, and that is all they're going to receive from me. So at least in the eyes of Amazon, I'm not doing any of the above in terms. I'm giving products in an excessive amount, but it's to customers that have already bought from me, which is allowed. Amazon allows you, if they wouldn't allow promo codes, they would remove that from their system. They obviously allow that, but I'm not asking my customers for any reviews whatsoever. I'm letting that happen organically by just creating value for them. So that is the way I interpret the new language, and again, it's to intentionally manipulate, which we all do, right? We all do. But you hear a lot of people that will say, well, that's only to black hatters. Amazon never says that it's to black hatters. Amazon never makes that distinction. These are things that people are just coming up with. There's just the black hatters. It's just the people who are doing this, who are doing that. Amazon doesn't say that. All they're saying is anyone that intentionally manipulates the product rankings, by offering an excessive number of free or discounted products in exchange for a review, right? So it's important that people understand that what they're saying is that if you manipulate your product rankings and then you offer excessive number of free or discounted products in exchange for a review, that is a violation of Amazon's terms of service. What I have done is removed the request for a review. They no longer get that from me. So according to this language, if I read it word by word, I removed the exchange for a review. Right? I'm not asking for a review anymore.
Correct.
So I'm not asking for it when I send out the promo codes, and I'm not asking for it after as an email sequence. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, you can disagree with me, please, by all means.
Oh, no, absolutely, Frank, I would. But you know what? It does make sense that, we shouldn't be asking for a review, for offering a free product. And that's a clear violation of Amazon terms of service. So, yeah, I know. With every time we launch a new product out there on Amazon, it's flooded with lots of products. So it was like a grand opening for me,
Like, of course.
So, if you have a brick and mortar business, and then, the way you attract the customers to start coming in, because you just opened a brand new, you got to let people know. You got to have someone hold on the sign. Hey, we open a brand new coffee shop here. Come on in, give it a try. It's a free. First whole week is free coffee and free donuts or whatever. It's like a grand opening on Amazon. Hey, We're giving out 20% off. We're giving out free products, And if you like them, please review it. But apparently, Amazon doesn't think that anymore. I know the review system for them it's a natural flow that they wanted to keep it. So I know some black hatters do kind of take it to their advantage and have people write the nice review even the product is not. So I know they wanted to get rid of that, but it kind of affects the first timers like me. How am I going to have a grand opening on Amazon if I can't ask for a review?
Yeah, now this is where they're allowing you to. They're not saying you can't do the promos.
You
can do the promos, just don't ask for a review.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
In other words, because the language is specific, right? And the language says that you may not intentionally manipulate your product rankings, including by offering an excessive number of free or discounted products in exchange for a review, right? So the way I read it is just simply don't ask for a review.
Right.
Because then that tells Amazon that you're intentionally trying to manipulate the product rankings by doing these things and then following it up with asking for a review, because that to them is the three punch combination that they will look at in determining whether you're trying to artificially manipulate it.
Correct. It does, because it does affect your BSR if someone actually buys it, and then it even affects more if someone actually leaves a positive review on it. So
right, but if you ask for it, exactly. If you ask for it, then Amazon looks at it and says this is not natural.
Correct. This is an artificial. They're trying to manipulate our system.
Right. So if you don't ask for it, if you don't ask for it, then all you've done is that you had an opening and you, like you said, a grand opening. You've given your products away. You've given your promo away with nothing, asking for nothing in return.
I see. Okay, so that's the way to do it. Okay, great.
Yeah. So just don't ask for nothing in return. And again, Ankit, this is what I'm doing. I hate for someone. I would hate for someone to do it and then have them, lose their account. This is what I'm doing, and I'm willing to take that risk in my business because this is the way that me and my team understood the language to read. So I always tell everyone, do your own due diligence, review it. If it makes sense to you, then you apply it. If you need to contact Amazon, and I did that. I contacted Amazon, and the way I understood it and the way I asked the question is exactly the way that she informed me. She said, basically, don't ask for a review. She says, if I were you, you can give promos. She says, you can give as much promos as you want. You can discount it. You can do it for free. She says, that's your business decision. But bottom line, she says, don't ask for a review.
I see.
Now, I have this on email, right? So that if anything ever happens to my account, I'm going to, I printed this out. I saved it in different places, and they've documented it so that if ever it comes back to bite me in the butt, I can go back and say, look, your rep told me that this is allowable, right? And I've gotten it from two different customer service reps just to make sure if one gets fired, for whatever reason because she was giving out bad info. I got it from two people, just in case.
Right.
But dot your I's and cross your T's. I tell everyone, call Amazon. Amazon documents all the phone calls. Call them, ask them, say, look, I just want an interpretation on the language. I want to make sure that I'm interpreting it the right way. Can I give free promos out? Can I give free discounted rates? I'm not asking for any reviews. I just want to get these products to my customers. Can I do it? Yes or no? Or phrase it however you want to phrase it. However, you feel you need to phrase it, and just document it and make sure you keep screenshots of of the response and whether good or bad. And this way you can pivot and make, whatever, business decisions you need to make for your business. Now, I just want to get into quickly, so we can wrap it up because we've gone over that.
Yeah.
I was hoping we can do this in 20 minutes, but man, talking to you, I guess I talk a lot, but, talking to you is exciting. I get excited because you have such great questions, but, I'm a chatterbox sometimes. You got to just turn off the batteries. But I'll answer the super URL question.
Oh,
as far as the super URL, and I believe that was, part of your question, which was probably the main question, but I just went off. I heard terms of service, and I just went with it. But the super URL, Amazon doesn't make any reference to super URLs, right? So I have to assume that it's allowable until it's not effective anymore. So a lot of I know I've heard the soapbox too about the super URL. Someone made that up and put it on there, and everyone just ran with it. I don't see any reference on this about any specifics about URLs, right? You can always ask your customer to, like for example, I covered in one of my Amazon episodes. One of my podcast episodes on how I include a flyer in my product packaging that promotes my second product, and it shows them how they can go to Amazon and retrieve, find my product, and then use the Amazon coupon code that's on the flyer to then receive the 80% discount on my product. And what I basically do is say, listen, if you go to Amazon.com, type in the search bar this keyword, when you find my product, add it to your cart, click on the image, add it to your cart, and then enter enter the Amazon coupon code, and you'll get 80% discount. So that's a way to avoid getting it, using a super URL. You can just explain it to your customer. This is how you find my product on Amazon. So you can do it that way, or you can include a super URL, whatever you're most comfortable with. I haven't read anything that Amazon speaks to a super URL, and I don't know why they call it a super. Someone decided to call it a super URL. It's just a URL, right?
Yeah.
Someone decided to give it that name, and it's stuck in the industry. But I don't see any reference to it. I don't see why Amazon would penalize you if they're not telling you that that's in their terms of service and you shouldn't be doing it, right? But if you don't feel comfortable with it, then don't use it, and just give your customer instructions on how to find your product on Amazon. And the way I explained it is one way to do it.
Right.
Yeah, does that make any sense to you?
Yes, no, it does make sense. But the one more thing I comes to my mind, Frank, is
sure.
So there is a natural way to find a product on Amazon. You tell your customers how to find a product on it. But what if you don't know which page you're on? Let's say iPhone 6, going back to that, and there are about 400 pages comes at the bottom, and they won't let you jump to page 10 directly and without scrolling the first 9 pages.
Well, yeah, that's the tricky part. I mean, if you're on page 2, hopefully you're on page 1, right? On the bottom of
then
page
it's
1.
easy.
Yeah, but then and that's a great question. If you're on page 10, then you can give them the ASIN number, but if the intent is to really have them find it through this keyword because it's going to boost your keyword ranking, then you almost have to use a super URL for that.
I see.
Because that's the only way, unless if you send them an email, right, through the Amazon email system. If you send them an email, then you can include the super URL there. You can include just the regular product link there. You can do whatever you feel comfortable with.
I see. Okay. Great.
And then at that point, if they look, they will probably render the super URL ineffective maybe at some point in the future. Maybe they won't. I don't see anything that says it's a violation. They're not referring to this as intentionally manipulating your product rankings, even though it probably is. But they don't, again, it's that vagueness in Amazon's terms of service that keep us all, asking questions as to, does it include a super URL? Does it not include a super URL? And if you're going to email your customer a coupon code through the Amazon email system, then you know what? Just include the regular product link and then boost your keywords through your title and through PPC. Then just do it that way if you don't feel comfortable.
Right, because then then it's an easy way for the customer, like asking for my friend to go buy this product, right? And or asking anybody to go review it, in my Facebook group. But if my product is on, I don't know, who knows which page is on, then but I don't want them to buy it with an ASIN number, because then I wouldn't be ranking for a keyword. It's like a lost thing, and now you can't even ask for a review. So might as well create a super URL, and then once you start ranking, you could have them generically search, hey, I'm going to be on either between page 1 to page 5, so search for me, here's what the picture looks like, and then you could purchase it, and here's the coupon code.
Look, if they want 80% off, they'll do a little research, right? But
Right.
Look, I wouldn't just as a rule of thumb, or maybe as something that you can do a business practice, I wouldn't, use a review group, and I wouldn't ask anybody in Facebook to review your product. I would just let it come naturally through sales. Give your customer value, and I think you'll get the reviews. And my first product, I got a ton of reviews, and I never asked for it because in the beginning I wasn't using an email sequence. So for the first maybe 30, 40, 30, 40 reviews, I'm up to 250 now. But for the first 30 or 40 reviews, I never asked for. I didn't have my email sequence, I believe, in there, or maybe it was my first 10 or 20. But I didn't have my email sequence. I got those naturally, organically. So customers that shop on Amazon frequently, they leave reviews because they use reviews, and they for the most part, they'll leave you a review, and you'll get those organically. So, I would say as a matter of practice, good business practices.
Right. You are right, Frank. I agree with you on this. It's a matter of good practice.
I would just stay away from anything that has to do with reviews. I'm not asking for it anymore, and again, for any launches, I don't ask for it. Like I have it turned on for my regular product sales, because my regular product sales, I'm not, I haven't asked for, I'm not discounting that or asking any, I'm not doing a blast for that. So I'm asking for those because, it's fine, but I'm turning that off because I'm not even going to ask it for any of my products, because at the end of the day, I think if I deliver value, I'd rather focus on creating sales velocity, because that's what Amazon likes, and they'll rank me higher based on that. I'd rather focus on growing my keyword positioning, ranking for certain keywords, than I'm willing to focus on reviews. The reviews will come naturally. Trust me, they will come naturally. And if you give value, like I said, I give a ton of value. I have a product, and I have 2 additional products for my main product that I try to rank for. I have 2 other items in there. In addition, I have a storeway bag that I include in there. I have an amazing packaging. And on top of that, I had an ebook created for like $200 that includes, the cover, includes the writing, includes everything. I have an ebook that I created for that. So when the customer buys, the first thing they get is a thank you, and here's my ebook. Here's an ebook that I think you will love, that talks about the product you just purchased, in addition to just the general category, overall. So I give them a ton of value, and I think that just if you focus on value, I think the customer will automatically, naturally leave a review, because especially those customers that are constant buyers on Amazon. Most Prime members are habitual buyers on Amazon, so I think you'll be fine there.
Okay, great. Yes, and I think the natural review looks much better, rather than when people read that disclaimer underneath. Hey, I received this product for free in order, to provide my unbiased review. And that kind of does look bad at some point too,
Yeah, you know what? You're probably better reaching out to the reviewers on Amazon's Vine program.
Correct, right.
And reaching out to as many as you can, and just send them, because that's Amazon's review service.
Right.
Right.
You know what? I was thinking about that too. I had to take a look into it.
Why not focus on that? Because that holds a lot of weight. They're legitimate. A lot of them create videos. And they know how to really pitch a product well. So why not focus on those reviewers, because they're part of Amazon's Prime program, Vine program, and then just focus on the other parts of your business, and let the reviews come organically.
You know what? This is a great point. You know what, Frank? You just took my whole worry off by telling me this, because now I don't have to worry about any legality. It's all legal. It's a review group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here goes my grand opening.
There you go.
So.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I think we've gone, wow, an hour and 17 minutes, man. I hope our listeners don't beat us up for this one.
Yeah, let's hope.
So listen, Ankit, man, I appreciate you coming on the show, and a lot of people get a little nervous when they get interviewed, and man, you were awesome. So thank you so much for putting these questions together. Thank you for sharing your story. We look forward to hearing your successes, and look, a lot of what you shared are a lot of what a lot of sellers are struggling and going through in their businesses. So I hope that my responses to your questions not only help you, but also help the community as a whole. So thank you for that. I really, really, truly appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, you're most welcome, Frank, and I'm glad to be part of your show. And I hope that, people understand that, hey, I'm not that $100,000 per month guy. I'm just a regular guy who's trying to sell my first private label products, and understand that, all these struggles that I do, it's not easy to overcome it, but it is very hard, but you will eventually overcome it. And, you're just going to have to keep pushing harder. And once you will, you'll have more. So you'll never stop. Right, Frank?
You know what? Absolutely. I love this quote, and it says, Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't want to work hard.
You know what actually I did while I was watching our private label video? I actually screenshot and printed that. I swear to God, I
That's great.
printed that quote and I have it in my office. Would you believe that?
Oh, that's great, man. Thanks for that. Let me tell you, I love it, and I live and I swear by it, because I think it's so true, and it just resonates with me a whole lot.
It,
So listen, Ankit, thank you so much, buddy. You've been great, and I look forward to hopefully having you in a future episode where you'll share your $100,000 month with us.
hey, my pleasure. Let's sure hope so. Thank you for everything. Good luck, everyone.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good night. Enjoy the Labor Day weekend, buddy.
Hey,
Take care.
thank you. Good luck. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Ankit Patel. Ankit, my friend, thank you so much for taking the time to really, put those questions together. You did great. They were great questions, and I enjoyed answering them. Thank you so much, buddy. Hope to see you in the near future on the show with a success story. I have no doubt in my mind that you will be extremely successful. You have everything that it takes to be successful. You have the energy, the drive, you have the know-how, and you're just a great person. So I think you're going to do extremely well in this Amazon business. So thank you so much for sharing your time. Hey guys, before I close out the show, I just wanted to remind you guys that I will be having a live Amazon Periscope TV channel where I'm going to be covering pretty much, live questions on Amazon. Anything you guys want to chat about, I'm going to be doing it live on Periscope. Now, I'm going to be having really a special twist and a special treat for you guys on the show to really, give you a different perspective on this private label business. And I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So you want to tune in. Now, if you want to sign up for the emails reminder list, you can go to www.onlinesalesmentor.com/Periscope. And this list is for reminders so that a day before the show goes live, you'll get an email letting you know what the topic is and, reminding you when to log on so that you can catch the live show. Because remember, Periscope only holds the recording for 24 hours, even though I'm planning on moving those shows to another platform. I'm not sure where, but I'm going to be extracting those videos, those pre-recorded live shows, and moving them onto another platform. However, I'm not sure, if I'm going to do that immediately or when I'm going to do that, but you want to make sure that you attend live and you catch it live because you're going to get a lot of value, just being part of the process. So again, www.onlinesalesmentor.com/Periscope if you want to join the email reminders list to make sure that you get that email letting you know when the show's going live and what topics we're going to cover. So again, my friends, thank you so much. I think you're going to enjoy the live show. Make sure that you attended. This is the first week of September, right after Labor Day. I'm going to be probably airing the first show sometime this week or early next week. So make sure that, you head on over and sign up and make sure you get your name on the list so that you can be a part of the show. If you just want to follow me on Periscope, you can do that at Amazon Course. So if you just, again, want to follow me on Periscope, you can do that at Amazon Course. You can just follow me on Periscope. But I recommend you get on the email list because it just makes it easier, to, stay ahead of it and, not miss any live shows. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to today's show. Sorry that interview went a lot longer than what I expected. But I think, hopefully you get some value out of it. And there's so much more to come, regarding interviews. And, I'm going to try to be very selective in bringing people I think they're going to add value to your business. So thanks again, guys. I look forward to serving you in the next episode. Love you guys. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Online Sales Mentor podcast at www.onlinesalesmentor.com, where we help you grow, build, and automate your Amazon business.